What do we got today?
We are at Automation Fair in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, historic PA, actually. And today we're going to get the scoop on PTC and Rockwell. We visited yesterday for a couple of minutes, but they were busy, and now we're going to find out what is the extent of the relationship and strategically where are both companies going. And what does that mean for our consumers and our clients?
So I want to just kind of bring you guys along with us. Just follow along like you guys are just walking here, talking. We're going to go talk to some people, and I'm just going to leave it on record. So thank you guys for coming along.
Sounds cool, man. I like that idea. It's a good idea. I'd be interested in hearing what the attendance is, because it's definitely smaller than the last two times I came to the show here in Philly. There's definitely fewer attendees.
How many people would you guess are here?
Maybe 8 to 10.
8 to 10,000.
Yeah. And the last time I was here, or last two times, I think it was over here, was 15,000. That's typical, 15.
We are PTC.
Yeah.
So what is PTC?
They're a software company. They make industrial solutions, and what they're really known for is ThingWorks, which is essentially an analytics and dashboarding platform. There's Adam Kennedy over here.
They recently I remember Adam.
And Steve Sponseller.
They recently just bought Kepware, merged.
Yeah, they did a strategic partnership.
Hey guys.
Steve, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
See you. Walker, good to see you.
See you again.
We only came because of PTC and Rockwell's.
Yeah.
So, who's here from like the ThingWorks group and the Asset Advisor?
It's kind of us. We're somewhat responsible for the go-to-market strategy for the apps, but the real mastermind behind it is Howard Heppelman.
Howard Heppelman. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
so right now it looks like basically what's happened is you guys have taken ThingWorks, Asset Advisor, manufacturing apps, all that the suite, and just sort of integrated it into a Rockwell suite, right? Is that? No?
What we did, well, maybe there might be things going on there that we're just not aware of. That would be the whole innovation suite, which I don't know how that packaging looks yet. You may be ahead of me on this one.
That's what it looked like yesterday.
My guess is, so what we have is ThingWorks SCO.
Yep.
That is the package that we're bringing to the industrial customers for our spaces.
Right.
That's bundled with the apps already. So in that bundle, you are getting those 3 apps, and I'm guessing that's what the innovation suite is, plus the factory talk analytics piece.
Okay.
How familiar
are you with the Rockwell stuff?
I was a big Rockwell guy for 15.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very familiar with Rockwell. The reason I moved
Much more so than we are.
Yeah, I moved away from Rockwell because right about the time they came out with the unified architecture. So when they went unified as opposed to open. So they wanted, I love their products. But they went with a unified architecture at a time when we believed they should have gone open architecture, which is the ability to use, the consumer can use any protocol, whether it's open source, whether it's unified in the stack. Rockwell wanted a unified stack. They basically wanted to own, I don't want to say own, but they wanted to have a piece of the whole stack. And they were using proprietary protocols inside the stack. So that way, if say I have Rockwell PLCs, then I sort of have an edge on the market to go with factory talk software solutions, even if they are missing functionality that the client might need.
Yeah,
so that's why we went to Ignition. That was ultimately the reason. Ignition was, actually we did Indusoft first, because Indusoft was they were using open architectures, and then we went to inductive automation. Now we're using also Factory Studio. That's another, and Factory Studio is developed by the guy who developed Indusoft. So when Indusoft sold to Aviva, all one word. Yeah, it's made by a company called TATSoft.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, based in Houston.
Yep, we know TATSoft.
So Factory Studio, they just came out with their latest release, and it's going all IIoT. And don't worry, I'll approve. I'll before we post anything. before we post anything, you guys, if any of it's used, I'll send it to you.
Don't worry, we're
guys.
live streaming to 1,000 people right now, so it's just like they're here just talking to you guys. It's no big deal.
Well, hi there, folks.
And most likely, there won't be any audio. It'll just be music or something. Okay. So we're just shooting. I don't know if you guys see our digital marketing stuff. But,
we're going through the digital transformation of communications and marketing.
Gotcha.
So it's
gotcha. This is how it starts.
This guy's with you though. Like he was by here yesterday.
Yes. That video came out really good. Jeff Bates, he really crushed it. He was a little bit kind of nervous at first. I mean, it's kind of it's weird, even for me, Yeah. I'm still getting better at this, and the audio came out really well, and I want to cut it together with like some B-roll of the demo and kind of make it interesting.
So Zach's he's a control systems engineer. So he's a senior control systems engineer, but now he's moved to digital marketing. He doesn't engineer anymore. He was on the job. He was one of the engineers.
Adam, were you at the job?
No. But Steve,
I mean, I was like the account.
Steve was the rep for
yes.
That's how we met.
But he owns a media company.
Did you meet some Kepware guys at?
Yeah.
Because Ray. Whoa, sorry.
Ray, that's who it was.
Right there.
Yeah, and Sam are the only
Sam,
two really.
Sam's not here.
Oh, okay.
He's a new dad, so he doesn't.
Oh, that's cool.
But so we went to we've moved to open architecture. That's the reason we're interested in ThingWorks, because it already supported IIoT protocols.
Correct.
I mean, I can tell you right now, 9 out of every 10 of our customers that we go to, and I think a part of it has to work with, is kind of tied to the way our inbound strategy works, but 9 out of our 10 customers, the first question they ask is, tell me what platforms you use.
Really?
Yeah, that would be I would say it's the first question they ask. Then the second thing they'll ask is architecture. What is your architectural philosophy? Because most of what we're doing is like on the MES and ERP layer, so we're not even really doing SCADA that much anymore. And
give me a title of someone that you're talking to who would be asking these questions.
So it would be
That's a great question.
like a director of technology.
Okay.
It would be
on the IT side.
On the IT side, IT manager. Well, because what's happening, and you guys already know this, the organizations are delegating the digital transformation to the IT groups.
Yeah. Right.
And then the IT group doesn't know anything about the operational technology, right? So then they're looking for people like us that can bridge the gap. That's ultimately what's. Yeah. But they're coming in with the open architecture philosophy. If you look at the architecture that they want, it is basically a single namespace that contains all data. Accounting data gets published in, process data everything gets published into a single organized namespace, and then all consumers subscribe to the data that they want.
Like the Holy Grail.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why MQTT is so powerful, right? Because you can have multiple nodes publishing into the exact same namespace. That's the reason we pick it as a protocol. That's why we don't use DMP3. Well, that's not true. We do use DMP3.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's
and no one's. Well, but you're oil and gas, right?
Yeah.
So I would say there are 2 oil and gas customers we have right now that think that way. And those are the 2. They have a ton of Kepware.
Yeah.
So they're using memory. They're using the memory drivers to do all their stateful, do all their store. But I would say they're the only 2 oil and gas customers we have that think that way.
The company that kind of started with MQTT.
Yeah, they in fact.
Arlen Nipper?
Right. MQTT was developed for.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the ones that bought, or they contracted IBM and Arlen.
So you work with them?
Yes. Yep. So we are re-architecting their entire. So we are designing and re-architecting their entire architecture. So they're still maintaining report by exception, the whole deal, but we're redesigning that architecture with this namespace concept. Yeah. So that's why we like ThingWorks. Well, here's the other thing. Why can't we download ThingWorks for free off the website? I can't, but not without like logging. I can if I log in or whatever.
You just gave me another bullet a minute ago on the importance of a control system integrator and bridging the gap between IT and OT when it comes to IoT applications. That's essential. We are not very system integrator friendly at PTC right now. And there was a group of us, remember Eric Dellinger, Andy Tim, who worked really hard on creating a more accessible program for customers like yourself. That's still an ongoing thing. But it drives me crazy. I hear it all the time from SIs who, I think about like, what did Inductive do? Why is Inductive so successful? They made it so damn easy for you to get your hands on the product, get trained, get enabled, and move forward with a solution.
Without ever having to talk to someone.
Or spend it on.
That's right.
And you guys took that product to market. They didn't do it. They have 10 salespeople. They did not go to attack North America with 10 salespeople. You guys did it.
That's right.
So I've been preaching that, and I feel
Not only that, but you're building apps on top of it. Like you're expanding it.
Yeah. Well, it's a hub. It's an ecosystem. Where if you want to know the biggest problem Rockwell has, is that it's a controlled ecosystem. It's only the partners play well with their platforms. And I hope that changes.
What are the advantages of that?
The controlled ecosystem, speed. It's less buggy. I mean, for sure. I mean, they have much more control over what's released into the market. And there's a debate to be had over whether or not that's the best. You know, there's certainly a place for that in the market. Pharma, energy, all the places where
you can't just have someone coming in and saying, I built this little app, but I'm not having it thoroughly vetted and tested.
But when you look at discrete manufacturing, and then it's less, the people who are turning from spreadsheets to fully digitally transformed control systems, those people want something that's plug and play and is easy to spin up that doesn't cost millions of dollars. We have clients today, we just did this project. I wish I brought my iPad in here. We only use open technologies, right? We're actually using Kepware, so we use Kepware and the data logger as like a historian for these guys. They manufacture. They print packaging for the food and beverage industry. So they didn't have Kepware. We bought Kepware for them. In fact, they came to us because they were looking for a Kepware integrator. And what they said was, we want to use just Kepware with the data logger, and we'll use SQL tools to build our own reports. And we said, great idea on the Kepware part, great idea on the data logger part, but terrible part on the reporting side. Let's show you some other open architecture tools. And what we did is we said, we'll do the pilot and we'll fund it. We'll pay for it ourselves. If you guys like it, you buy it. Okay? Just give us access to your data. And we just turned over the dashboards we did for them with Canary Labs Historian. So we used Canary Labs Historian. We're using Flow software to do the calculations. These guys up here.
Oh, okay.
You know that company from South Africa? No. It's a small company, but they make a really awesome analytics package.
Really?
Yeah, and
Flow.
It's called Flow software. It's really, really powerful. And now it supports SparkPlug B. So now you can take that software and you can point it to Ignition, and it publishes everything in the namespace.
Yeah, nice.
So all their tags, all 10,000 or whatever. So we're using that, and then we wanted to use ThingWorks for the dashboarding, but there were a couple of issues having to do with IIS and all that stuff. So we may end up still using it, but
it's interesting seeing Factory Talk with a green logo, or it's different. But
say it again.
Well, like the FT suite with the FT Envision suite with FT and the green.
It's not red.
It's very, it's different, right? I like it.
I think that this is a great partnership. But I think Rockwell gets way more out of it than PTC does.
Probably. For us, it's the cachet to have a big, huge industrial.
80% of the install base in the U.S., man.
Exactly. But the other layer is they already bought $1 billion worth of software.
Yeah.
That's what this is really all about. Rockwell, as you said, they're getting more value because now they can point to an IoT solution they're not doing before in summer. Now they've got it.
It's so crazy. One of the things we're going to do in one of the blog posts that we'll do in a couple of weeks was last year when I came to the show in Houston, my whole goal was to find out what is Rockwell doing with IIoT. So I went to a couple of the sessions, and what I discovered is they were like a decade behind everyone else.
Yeah.
And they were doing one thing. They have an EN900, which is a little gateway, and it's a little router gateway, and they were writing a connector, an MQTT connector, to publish data from that EN900 gateway to a broker. And when I talked to the product manager, it was like a pet project. It wasn't anything serious at
That's
all.
just last year.
That was 1 year ago. Then in that time, they announced this. I wasn't even going to come to this show.
leapfrog.
They were like, hey, let's buy the technology, or not buy it, but basically lease the technology, however they did it, right? And so I wanted to see, like, wow, if Rockwell really does kind of pivot from unified to open, that changes like everything. Because ultimately the holy grail is that the hardware on the edge is a node in your IIoT infrastructure with no middle person. You just take your Compact Logix PLC and you point it to the broker and everything shows up. And when we show customers this in our demos, they lose their mind. They lose their mind. They can't wrap their brain around the idea that there's no more engineering in the middle. You don't put a piece of software and have to configure all your nodes and build all your tags. Yeah, it's
Adam, what does IIoT mean to you, and what is digital transformation? What is connected enterprise?
Okay, that's a lot. IoT to me means kind of what we were saying a minute ago, and this is the merge of IT and OT. It's something that I think people like Walker and we at Kepware have been talking about for a long time, and that there is a melding of those two departments and that more efficiencies can be put in place when they're working together. So you have platforms like ThingWorks that are able to effectively do that. We don't want to use terms like mashups or anything like that. That's too simple to describe what's really going on here. What we really want to say is we have these real applications now that can solve these factory problems efficiently. We can get the information, the data, to places it's never been before, in front of people who don't typically get to see it, to make better decisions for the factory. That's really what it's all about.
That's a good one.
What was you had another question in there, though, too. I'm sure you'll be able to
Digital transformation.
Oh, the digital transfer. So that, to me, is really fun and exciting. Because, to me, that is the reality of the augmented reality play that we're talking about. You have all this data now coming in from all these different places. How the hell is anyone really going to effectively consume it? That's where the simplification of, like, taking an iPad or putting on a HoloLens or whatever, looking at a device and having the data right in front of you is so powerful and so cool. It seems kind of ahead and hokey and maybe just something to sell the CEO right now, but eventually you're going to need some way to consume this complex data from all these different sources. You need a way to say, okay, I'm this type of persona, I'm this type of user. When I use my augmented reality experience, I just see what I need to see, and all the other stuff is filtered out.
It learns your behavior.
You want to know the analogy I use for the client? I say, how do you know that your heart is healthy? Right now. I don't. The only information you have about whether or not your heart is healthy is whether or not your doctor told you it is, or you're using a smart sensor, that type of thing. So think about it this way: you go to the doctor twice a year, right? If you're over 40, you go 2 physicals now, right?
Technician comes out.
Yep. They come out and for that 15-minute visit, there's a 30-second window where they put a stethoscope on your heart, and they make a determination about your heart health from that 30-second window. That's all the data. So all the year long, it's 60 seconds of heart data that they decide whether or not your heart is healthy. But imagine that your doctor had access to your heart 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Real time.
In real time. What would that mean for your long-term viability? Right. That's the illustration I use in the meeting. When I present to a client, I say, that's why IIoT matters. Because IIoT is the idea.
It's not like that doctor is going to be looking at my chart for 365 days,
That's right.
But an anomaly gets detected. Now he's paying a little bit more attention.
That's right. There's an alert that comes up. Look a little closer. Then I make a phone call to the principal.
Let's get a little more data.
Let's get, and that's
a good analogy.
That's IIoT. That's what I say that to the client. Because you guys know this too. You go into meetings. They know they've got to do something.
Yeah.
They know that IIoT is a thing. They know that digital factory is a thing. They know that Industry 4.0 is a thing, but they don't know what it is. They don't know how it translates to their business.
Right.
And they're relying on us.
Yeah, what's the ROI?
That's right. They're relying on us to tell them what that is, you know? Yeah.
Oh, no.
I got a simple question. Why, they talk about the convergence of IT and OT.
Yeah.
Why were they ever separated to begin with?
I really don't know. I don't know. Walker probably has that answer.
And the IT data was secure data, and the OT data was not. That's why they were separate.
Only secured by the air gap.
That's right.
Separate
IT
networks.
was the secure data. It was the stuff it was your IP. It was the information that your competitors didn't have, and the OT data was the information that the machines you bought from the same OEMs. So that's how they segmented it. They drove it right down the middle, and that was actually defined by CSIA.
Really?
CSIA was the one who defined what OT was, what data you could just leave on a process network and not move to the IT side of things. Most people think it was the other way around. Most people think IT defined what it was. It wasn't. It was actually control systems.
We should go talk to the CSIA guys.
They're here, right?
They are. I want to ask one question. How is the Linux version coming?
Man, there's a guy right over there, but beta is going to be out very soon.
Okay.
On some type of OEM piece of equipment. Like, we're not going to, no, that's not true. The first phase of it to purchase will only be through an OEM.
What's that?
But we're giving it into the hands of anybody that wants to play with it.
So we want to put it on our edge devices running Linux. As long as it's got Allen Bradley and Siemens drivers, that's all we need to start with. So we really need the Siemens drivers. Yeah, they've been developing it for like a year, right?
Oh, God, longer.
Oh, really? Well, I heard about it last year.
Oh man, there's been so many iterations of this. I mean, since I've been at Kepware, 8 years, people have been asking for this, and we've started this platform independent. You know, and then
there's been 2 relatively successful demos
of it. Yeah, Modbus to UA.
One was running on a Raspberry Pi, and then there was the idea to run it on Java in a Java.
I can't tell you how many times we've selected Windows 10 as our edge operating system just for Kepware. Only for Kepware.
Like, why aren't you using Inductive Edge for that?
Because you guys make better drive. I mean,
but I have to ask, or I have to understand that.
Yeah. So expertise is one of our 5 core values, right? So one of the things that we promise our clients is that when we make a recommendation, they know we are making the best recommendation. So as much as I love IA's products, there are 3 things that IA is not good at, but 2 that I really care about. Number 1, their historian is not good. Okay, it's a quick spin-up historian. And number 2, their drivers are not good. And it's not that the drivers are deficient, it's that the way that they integrated the drivers into the gateway means if I want to connect the gateway resource to, say, 100 PLCs, and let's say I don't know about OPC-UA configurations, things like auto demotion and retries. What ends up happening is you end up with these Java errors. Let's say 60 of my PLCs go offline. I'll end up with these internal Java errors encapsulated in the wrapper that will then affect the performance of my interface system. So because it's consuming the same memory.
Yeah, so they're just not as clean.
They didn't break it apart, which they should have. They should have had their own, they should have been separate resources, and they're not. So that's the first part. The other part is since you guys moved to integrating your plugins more seamlessly in KepServer EX, there's so many more things you can do with normalizing data using Kepware first before you ever get it into the... So Kepware is by far we have a million installs of it. We use it in pretty much everything. So, but we really need it like the Linux version. But I understand, you guys have
the Linux version won't have some of that stuff you just mentioned, the plugin capabilities out of the gate.
Well, for example, we're doing a project right now. We ended up having to write our own transmitter. So we have ignition running on the edge, and we bought a $200 Siemens driver that's running in ignition, and it's talking to an S7 1200. And then we wrote our own transmitter, MQTT transmitter, because Cirrus Links was too expensive. This is a huge scale project, and we had to get the total turnkey cost had to be $800 or less, and IA and those guys couldn't get it down to less than like $1,500 with the hardware. So we bought their driver, and we wrote our own transmitter, and then we're using an Advantech Uno, which is, our pricing's like $430. So we got everything for like $600 and some change, and then we can mark it up to $800, right? So But if we had Kepware, I would have been able to go to you guys and say, all I need is Siemens Step 7. I need it to cost between no more than $300 per install, and I can guarantee you 200 installs.
Yeah.
And you guys would have said, absolutely,
No problem.
It would have been no problem, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up, and now we have a whole ignition install running just for that one driver because it has to run on Linux.
Yeah.
Do you have a card on you, just so I can remind?
Yeah, it's in my bag.
Connect you with Jeff.
Yeah.
And I want a much better system integrator program for ThingWorks.
Yeah.
And I've been screaming this for 2 years now. They're not going to listen to me. They'll listen to others. Would it be a bad idea if I connected you with somebody and you say, here's what I'd love to see?
Yeah, and I would love to. Listen,
I'm curious if you're talking with anyone at Rockwell about this kind of stuff. Like, are you well connected?
Yeah, Rockwell is okay. So the answer is yes.
I'm just going to start it.
So there's a guy named Tony Ferriucci that I work with here in the Northeast.
For Rockwell?
Yeah, he's a Rockwell rep. He's a regional rep, and then another guy named Steve Witovich, who is the Northeast seasonal regional sales manager. Those are the two people I deal with. The problem with me is, if you're doing something I think is stupid, I'm going to tell you I think it's stupid and probably offend you. And not everyone reacts really well.
I know, but it's still
Not personal.
Yeah.
That's exactly the reason I'm wondering if you're having those conversations with Rockwell.
We had a
help
meeting,
steer the ship in the.
We had this meeting with Rockwell last year. The same conversation, an actual meeting with our rep and with 3 of the Rockwell reps, including the IIoT. He was an engineer.
Yeah, so that edge stuff, I think the long-term play is that there'll be some ThingWorks stuff being there as well, and I think having you as a contact to help, what would be a priority to have at the edge,
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, what PTC did with the acquisition with Kepware, it became pretty obvious right away what they wanted to do with
I have to run to a meeting,
Yep.
but I'll shoot you an email.
All right, man. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
That they wanted.
Hey, congrats on the new opportunity here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
You're gonna have a star on your hands here.
When the beta is just so I can.
you want to talk to someone about Linux? Sure. Be a good contact. I know you're off to a meeting.
Yeah, but what's the timeline on the? Because we could use it, if you can get the beta to us and it has the Siemens driver, we can use it. We've done 100 rigs so far. We've got 100 more to go. And we could easily put that Kepware beta on the other 100 rigs. So you'd have a wide test platform. And all we're doing is, literally all we're doing is connecting to the identical Siemens PLCs and then sending our data over a cellular network to a cloud server.
What are you talking about for our...
What are you sending the protocol? Are you sending it out?
MQTT.
Okay.
Now, I believe Jeff, or product manager for Kev, so he's probably still not happy with me. We had a long discussion about Sparkplug B.
I was on that call.
Yeah. Trying to get you guys to adopt Sparkplug B, but we can do it if you don't have Sparkplug B, because we've already written a parser that'll take your payload and turn it into ignition tags. So
have you productized that?
Yeah, we're gonna give it away. We're open sourcing it. That's interesting. So yeah, we're actually open sourcing it to Eclipse. Right now, we're talking to Eclipse to get them to own the special. So, but if you guys, is it like weeks? Is it months out, the beta?
It's spring summertime.
Okay.
Oh, for beta.
Yeah.
I was about ready to say, what
Sorry,
did you just say?
for beta. I thought you were saying GA.
So
Yeah.
beta.
You really did. I don't know if you're aware, you had an involved.
I was like,
And then the Siemens Step 7 drive is what I need. S7 1200.
There's a man.
Modbus to you, yeah.
And what will be the timeline?
So I think they're finishing up the Siemens now, but it'll probably take us a little bit longer to actually cut a beta and get that rolling.
So would this be like March? Would it be January? Would it be June?
Yeah. So as I said, I think they're finishing it up. So it could probably be early next year. But
You're talking about the Kepware Kepserver EX beta, or I mean
Linux.
beta.
Linux with
Linux
the
beta.
Siemens driver.
Right.
Probably like in January, February timeframe.
Because we could wait. I mean, we're doing a pilot right now. We've done 100 installs on the 100 rigs using Ignition Siemens driver, which we don't want to use. The only reason we're stuck is we have to use Linux as the OS on the edge.
Right.
So we've already tested a bunch of other OSs, and Linux is what we have to use. But ideally, we could do the second 100 rigs with the beta.
We should use it for we do a weekly IIoT kind of demo development.
Yeah, we do a live development on Fridays.
We get on a
live
Zoom
stream
call,
it.
and we work with all these different products like Ignition, Kepware, MQTT, and we like plug them together.
The cloud server that's in a data center in Dallas. It's over 275K cellular connection. So very, very slow connections with Ignition. Right now we're sending about 800 tags every 900 milliseconds from each node. So, and it's blistering fast. And so when we show that, and then we show it in a chart, they're like, how are you able to even accomplish that? And we were just like, it's the protocol. I mean, but ideally it's Kepware, because we use Kepware in pretty much every one of our installs, except for this one.
Proof of concept, or it's not just a demo that you're doing,
It's
right?
a pilot.
It's a pilot.
It's a 200 rig pilot for a company that, well, we have an NDA. It's for a company called, and they basically they process potable water for the oil and gas industry, and they have to monitor their water wastewater systems 24/7.
I'm going to disclose it to you anyway.
Well, I have an NDA.
We have an NDA with you
We have an
guys.
NDA with these guys, so, and I have an NDA with you. So, so it's a company called, and we've done 100 rigs. We need to do 100 more, and we're using Advantech Unos running Linux. Right now, they're running Ignition with just a Siemens driver and a transmitter we run. And ideally, we would.
Yeah, so this beta, it might be a little tough because this beta is going to have the 2-hour time-limited demo on it. So it's more,
Go do this thing on this other thing. I don't have to talk to my OEMs.
And I said, absolutely, and he said, like, how long would it?
So now we're working with a factory studio. We work with Ignition and Factory Studio. The Factory Studio is made by Statsoft. It's basically Ignition, but in .NET, and it's awesome. It's made by the same people that made Infosoft, and so we're basically created this stable of solutions that we use, and then we just recommend to the customer which one we think is best for their application. So, and I can tell you that Kepware 99% of the time is always part of the solution. So ThingWorks, I would say maybe 1 out of 10, and it's just the difficulty to entry is the issue.
So that's high on like the list of problems that we're just trying to solve.
Yeah. But once you guys get that, it'll be like, it would become the solution du jour. Really, it would be, because you can do so much with ThingWorks. It's
One of the things we're going to introduce is, do we already mention the joint installer?
Yeah, so now when you download, download free trial on Kepserver, you can choose either just the standalone download, or which lays down all the manufacturing apps, including Asset Advisor, and it's straightforward.
What is the long-term plan for manufacturing apps? Because to me, they're like really like an I don't want to say entry level, but it's like a gateway.
Yeah.
Like manufacturing apps is like a gateway to.
I think we actually started calling them accelerators, and that's kind of the idea. Is like here's a starter app essentially.
But the idea is to move to full-blown ThingWorks and do everything under the hood in ThingWorks. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think what we find a lot of success targeting people that like, especially now as we start to look at it more enterprise-wide, like coming in and having a portfolio of solutions like that. So it might be like a controls advisor that you can extend to make it work for yourself. It's not to say that we wouldn't come in and like make out-of-the-box connectivity, like what you're saying, a little bit better. But maybe if you're like a executive, it could be something more geared towards like executive advisor over multiple sites, and basically come in and be like, what are you trying to say? Like cost savings, better quality, like whatever it is, predictive maintenance. and then put together a suite of products. So some of that may be, maybe it's not even including Controls Advisor in like that case, but that's like a benefit that once you buy into ThingWorks, it's like, oh, by the way, we also have this, and it's kind of cool because you can see all of like your Kep servers or PC servers that are connected. So I wouldn't say we're necessarily using those as
What about
starting
licensing costs? You guys are doing both, like two styles of licensing, right? Isn't there like the by user style? And that, if you guys can clarify that, that would be helpful because I can't answer those questions. When they ask me how much this ThingWorks costs, the best answer I can give them is, PTC is very flexible with the pricing. That's basically what I tell them.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm like,
but yeah, I think it's usually we're not the experts on that, but
Okay, right.
yeah, I think usually there's like a per asset. That's the SCP.
Yeah, so there's specialized pricing if you're doing connected operations or connected products. So if you're looking at like an asset advisor kind of thing, I will say all of that's kind of being reevaluated in the sense of, like I just kind of alluded to the enterprise piece. You're not going to nickel and dime people for every Kep server they're using if you're rolling this out to like site-wide.
is there it's a SaaS model, right? Okay, because that's what all of our customers want.
Abby?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Zach.
They don't even
I
want
have a
to own
question.
it.
Yeah.
What is
We
it?
even own most of the servers.
So most people are interested
Oh
in
boy.
hosting.
Okay.
What does the connected enterprise
Are
mean to you?
interested in
What's a connected enterprise mean to me? I think it's the way to look at you now, right?
We own all the licensing.
From a connected enterprise standpoint, it's the ability of taking all of these physical assets and coupling them with the value of what you get from the digital information, and then being able to just leverage it for everything from like innovative solutions for, being able to act on data that you've never really had before. So think about it historically, like a lot of these things weren't, even today, I shouldn't even say historically, even today you have a lot of situations where people don't have equipment connected, or if it is connected, it's connected in a very small circle, and now being able to send that data all up to the cloud, it's no longer looking at like one small loop in it. You can mash all of these data streams together, and you can come up with just solutions and insights that never could before. And I think the big ones on things like predictive maintenance and things like that we've seen, you can see anomalies in that data that you never would have seen if you're just looking at one machine and one thing. Like temperature could be a factor. The other thing standing next to it, like network interference, could be like there's all kinds of stuff that you only get once you connect your enterprise and start looking at that data globally. So really, to summarize that, like connected enterprise is the ability to just be able to run your operations like smarter, better, faster because you've connected them and you can do more with your data.
It's like when you network a bunch of computers together, look at what interesting things can happen when you do that. Right?
Yeah.
Like the advent of the internet. So
It's just the next level. I think the most we see is the fact that you can take in a ton of different data streams and synthesize that data and just do all kinds of. And I'm talking like there's so much that you can do. Like,
we don't even know what we don't know.
Like you don't even know what you don't know, and the more customers that pick this up, you may sell it to them for something like predictive maintenance, and all of a sudden you come back 3 months later and they're like, hey, I figured out this thing for work instructions and like having digital experiences.
how does your role at PTC enable the connected enterprise?
So I lead I'm the GM for the Kepware business. So right now, Kepware is industrial connectivity. So we can connect you to any asset on the plant floor. So the big difference of what Kepware did historically to what Kepware can do now that we're coupled within PTC with ThingWorks. Before, we collected a bunch of data and we were like a connected enterprise in that one. And we could send that data up to various systems. Now we have this like very tight out-of-the-box integration that goes to ThingWorks, where you have the ability to rapidly deploy, applications, build your own, customize. We have custom solutions for things, or you can extend those. Like I think the difference between like connected enterprise and like smart connected enterprise type thing, right? Like there's just an ability to do things with that data that you've never been able to do before when it was just getting routed to a SCADA or an HMI. And so really that's what my product group does, is make sure like the thing that you hear around Rockwell is like Kepware, either they can connect to it, or if they can't, they can build it. So it's really making sure there's really no IoT without data. We get the data.
It's amazing how many of our clients I can still about Kepware. They'll just be like, come on, man. This is easy.
Did you see the little snippet from the video I posted?
I couldn't listen to it, but I saw the video and I was like, this looks awesome.
That was just like a little teaser. I'm gonna post the full video when I get to it, but I'll tag it in that one. Came out really good.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, the intro and everything looked awesome. So.
Well, yeah, obviously my video, I like that one, but I think our interview came out like the quality of.
I thought it turned out really good. Yeah. And I think it's most of our LinkedIn videos now are getting. I mean, we're getting a really large presence. I mean, we have many videos that are in the thousands of views, which are in this field. I mean, you're touching a lot of people.
Yeah.
We've had a bunch of 10,000 views, so it's like you're touching a ton of people because it's a small community. I mean, it's not
right. Yeah, once you get into thousands, it's like you're hitting everybody.
You're hitting. Yeah.
Anything we should go talk to next?
Yeah, I want to go see CSIA and then get out of here. Jeff, good talking to you.
Yeah, great to talk to you. I'll throw you on the beta list. And,
thanks, Steve.
I'm glad you got a chance to talk to Abby and Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much. So good to see you again as well. How you doing, bud? And Alex Bear.
Herbert.
Hey Bear. Well, he's not from Louisiana. If he was from Louisiana.
Hockey days.
Yeah. Are you Canadian?
What's that?
Are you Canadian?
No.
A Maine guy? Are you from Maine? Okay. So,
the questions that you have are probably
Armenian.
Yeah, I can tell. Yes. Thank you.
We love Maine. We have a place in Old Orchard Beach. So.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And
so when you get on the turnpike in Maine, there's like two signs: Quebec and OOB.
You're right, there is. And good to see you again, Carolyn. How you doing? So I had a bunch of follow-up questions, but they've all been answered. So.
Oh well, I
won't be bugging you.
Yeah, I knew that you.
Yeah. The big thing was the Linux.
Hopefully this is worth your travel up here.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I can tell you this right now. We did a post where we asked our customers, like, what we're going to Automation Fair. What's the one question you want us to have answered? And unanimously, everyone asked the same question. What is the meaning of the PTC Rockwell relationship?
So what's the answer?
Yeah. The answer is, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm gonna say, last year Rockwell did not have a plan for IIoT. This year their plan is PTC. That's what I'm gonna say. So, because last year they didn't have a plan, I actually wrote in the blog after this in Houston, wow, they really don't have a plan yet for IIoT. They just had the one little connector in the EN900 and that was it. And now, $1 billion later, they just moved 10 years into the future. So
don't get this guy talking about IIoT.
Yeah. I spent all my time preaching about
it's not replacing
Thank you guys.
Unified namespace and all that
adding.
stuff. Take it easy. Thanks. Where's the CSIA booth?
All the way in the back right.
Okay. Tanya sent me a text also, so.
We'll be talking about confidential stuff.
It's starting to snow, so Tanya wants to get out of here. So let's say hi to these guys and then. All right, so that was a great conversation. That was a great conversation.
It was good.
It was. Yeah. Well, you don't have to do it live. You weren't going to do a whole live stream anyway.
I don't know.
It was an outstanding conversation with PTC, and now we know the extent of the relationship with Rockwell, and that's awesome.
I don't really see why not like an hour
crazy,
long, right?
Just crazy. Walking around. My buddies were. That'd be cool. And then we'll do other stuff too, but we could do our podcast right here.
They don't have any of those problems.
Would you have time to do that?
What's that?
Have a sit down chat?
Here?
Wherever?
Yeah, we can do a. This is the Scholastic challenge I was telling you about. Let's see what the challenge is this year. We need to get on the road.
Looks like it's kind of like circle ball.
It looks like they're probably putting all the balls. What was the challenge?
The challenge is they have to pick the balls up out of the crater in the corner and get them inside the lander here, there. And you should really talk to a student, not video me.
What are they? What language are they using? Python.
They're using JavaScript running on an Android phone.
Okay.
And then there's essentially what you might consider the Android. There's going to be an Android phone on the robot and an Android phone on the driver control station. They communicate via direct Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And on the robot itself is essentially your I/O modules that communicate with your motors and sensors from the Android phone.
Can I talk to some of the students?
Absolutely. Please do. They've all signed NDAs and not NDAs, but photo releases and all that. So
Cool.
You're free to
Let's go bug them.
go.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Where are you guys from?
I'm from California.
You're from California.
Yeah, I'm curious what you guys are working on with this this little system here. With
I'm
someone
working on programming right now to program the claw to raise and drop right now. So I'm working on that right now. Before it can move.
Holy, Zach was talking.
Sorry, I'm pulling you out of the tank.
We've got 2 teams here.
Okay.
Or actually more, right?
Yeah, I have 4 teams. I'm from Philadelphia Performing Arts Charter, and so my captains are here from the 4 teams.
What's the objective?
Several.
So the objective is to get pieces from the crater right there. They're like the cubes are gold, the spheres are silver, into the lander, into their respective.
You're harvesting the minerals, basically.
Yes,
And
into
then
the
that's
lander.
like a red team and blue team, or how does that work?
There are multiple teams at the competitions, and then you're picked with 2. Each group is randomized, and 2 of them go. And there's 2 teams for blue, 2 teams for red, and then you just compete against each other, 2 teams per side.
What parts are you working on the project?
Well, I'm builder and captain right now, so kind of trying to.
How confident are you in your team's ability to come out with a W?
Pretty confident. Right now we're in the technical phase of waiting for stuff to get ordered, waiting for stuff to get here for orders and stuff. So we're in the phase of it's ready, but we need to actually get it ready.
Okay.
So
When's the actual competition?
we have a scrimmage December 15th.
Oh, cool. Good luck. And we're all winners because you guys are out here doing cool stuff. And thank you guys for talking to me.
No problem.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
About this time of year, and this is 4th grade through 8th grade. There's 3 components to this regularly. First of all, you design and build a robot to compete on the field. You solve the different missions for points. You have 2.5 minutes to run your robot on the field. The robot runs completely autonomous. The only time you can touch it is when it's in base here, and then it's completely autonomous on the field. The other component to that is they have to put together a robot presentation where they present the robot design to a panel of judges. Next up, there's a project they have to do. This year, all the themes are space, so that into orbit is the whole thing. So they have to do a project based on find an innovative solution to solve a problem facing human space travel. So they have to research and come up with an innovative solution, put together a presentation that might include how much this is going to cost, how feasible it is, how they're going to build it, and present that to a panel of judges that are going to be based on that presentation. Finally, core values. First, there's a common set of core values throughout the program, as far as cooperating with other teams, showing respect to other teams, kids doing the work, along with guidance from the mentors, and supporting other teams, working together rather than you're competing, but yet you're collaborating with other teams. So a lot of times at a competition, especially in the higher levels, someone's going to need a part or someone's going to need a tool. You're just going to ask the team next to you, or you're going to go up and down the pits and say, hey, does anyone have a left-handed smoke shifter or whatever? And someone's going to, oh, we have one. And they're happy to share parts and pieces, because the real goal is they want
to challenge against yourself.
Yes. You want to be the best, not because someone's robot broke. You want to be the best because your design process, your robot, what you put into it was
great.
The best.
Excellent.
And the whole collaboration really creates a great camaraderie between the teams. So you go and teams meet each other. They get to know each other. They'll work together.
Who funds this? Is Rockwell funding
Rockwell is a major sponsor.
Okay.
It's sponsored, like, if you look at some of the names on the mat, you'll see Lego Education, that's right, 3M. There's a whole host of sponsors that I don't know off the top of my head, but it's a pretty long list of pretty
we'll look at it.
recognizable companies. John Deere is one. I'm trying to, Qualcomm is one.
Because we sponsor a program right now for 70 students every summer at Brookhaven, and it's STEM forever. And the whole idea is what we're trying to do is we're trying to support integrators and engineering firms. We're trying to help universities or high schools and universities to educate the kids for the types of jobs that we do.
Oh, and that's exactly what this program is designed for.
Right.
And that's why there's I talked earlier about the core values. You want to work with somebody in a group on an engineering team. I keep telling people it's no longer two guys in a garage building solutions.
Right.
You're working together as a collaborative team, and you want to get these kids with that skill now. If you instill it at this age, when they go to college, graduate from college, and come work for you, then they're going to have those skills already, and you don't have to worry about teaching them those skills. And you see a difference. You really see a difference in the kids as they go through this program and as they grow and mature. It's really amazing. It really is.
That's awesome.
I've been involved for 10 years. This is my 10th year coaching here, 7th year coaching there with the high school kids. First Tech Challenge is 7th through 12th grade. And so they have to build essentially a robot that fits into an 18 by 18 cube.
But you're out of Mayfield?
I'm out of Mayfield Heights, yeah.
So do you come out here and visit them a couple of times, or
no,
how do you?
This is a worldwide program.
Right. So but these kids here, are these kids local kids from?
Yeah, these aren't my team. So they're local here.
Got it.
My team's back home. My teams are back home right now.
And you're just here with Rockwell?
I'm here for Automation Fair.
Got it. Okay.
So,
excellent.
And helping man this booth.
Excellent.
So, and mainly because I feel so strongly about the program.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to look into it definitely more, for sure. We'd like to help if we can, so that'd be great.
Both of my daughters are in college now, and both of them did this in high school and middle school.
Where are they going to school? Purdue?
No. Are you Purdue?
No.
My oldest is at Mount Union, if you've ever heard of that.
I have.
Because they're Division III football champions, right?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Ithaca.
Okay.
So Ithaca College and Mount Union for many years in the 80s were D3. I mean, it was either Mount Union or it was IC going to the D3 national championship. So.
And my youngest is at Yale.
Okay, great, excellent.
And they're both computer science.
Oh, awesome! I'm a Cornell guy, and then I did my undergraduate at NC State.
Oh, great!
So, but yeah, a lot of automation engineers, they seem to come from Purdue.
Yeah, very good school. Georgia Tech, good school. So many good schools. It's fun because I got my seniors going through and having the conversations about what school you're going to and why, and hearing their thought process. And really, it's all about them finding the school that's right for them.
Yeah.
And actually, my daughter struggled. She wanted to go to a tech school, and she got this great offer from Yale, which is a liberal arts school. But actually, the more we learned about Yale, the more we realized it was so closely aligned with the values of FIRST, which is experience as freshman.
What year is she?
She's a freshman.
Oh, so I have a friend who is a freshman at Yale this year as well.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. His last name is Roberts.
You know what residential college he's in?
Logan Roberts, his name is. He is studying political science.
Yeah, but do you know what the residential college? Okay,
No.
Yale's broken up into multiple residential colleges. So Logan Roberts.
Logan Roberts, yeah, he's from upstate New York.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask.
So, what are your final thoughts?
Okay, so here's my big takeaway. There are fewer people at the show this year than ever before. I would say the biggest takeaway is that Rockwell has finally jumped on the IIoT bandwagon. They get it. I don't think they know ultimately what they're going to do with it, but because they've partnered with PTC, they're in good hands. And so that means that our clients and our company, we can now start considering Rockwell hardware again because they're on the right path. The only open question is, will they pivot from unified architecture to open architecture now that they understand the value of IIoT?
Nope.
We were going to send I wanted to do this marketing thing where we sent a notice out to all of our current clients about we're offering discounted engineering costs for a certain amount of time, right? This concept of, this time of the year is a slow time of the year, and therefore our rates are going to go down, or we're offering introductory rates for any new, or we're going to offer referral bonuses to any clients that referred us to new clients. And everyone on the executive leadership team said that they thought it cheapened our brand if we did that. Somehow made our brand cheaper. When in my head I was thinking, my whole goal is to just reach as many people as we can. Like help as many manufacturers as we possibly can. And who cares how as long as we don't go broke, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the perception is that if you have to do introductory rates, then it makes it seem like you're not busy or something, which may or may not be true. It's just you want to reach more people. I mean, people like a discount, There's a perception there,
The only issue that I could see is that, if you offer the discount one time, then your clients could maybe expect that
next year
every time. And oftentimes what you're charging is based on what the person who's working on their project costs and any capital costs we may have incurred that year, or those costs get shared across all of our clients, right? So I think the only downside would be that. But it's like, if the goal is to reach as many people as possible so that you can help as many people as possible, then why wouldn't you do everything in your power to reach as many? You know what I mean? Now, sometimes I think I would.
I like the concept of partnering with these brands to do content marketing.
Yeah.
And I think we could expand that.
Like-minded thinking brands.
Right.
And
I think that it only naturally makes sense to extend that the other way through the customers.
Yeah.
And we could talk about their success on integration, right? So they're providing value back to the community, but then subtly we're marketing whatever widget they're making too, because the point of the video is not just, hey, we're this manufacturer and we make electrical components. No, it's like we think differently. We like to make things efficient. We work with companies that are like-minded.
And here's an example.
Here's our what we created.
Here's an example of a like-minded thinking company. What was your take on Automation Fair?
I liked it. I mean, it's my first time here. I liked how there was a lot of different partners and different brands, as opposed to like just Rockwell stuff.
Did it meet your expectations?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Exceed?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Let's do it.
You don't represent their
Correct. So, if we...
It's a transparency concept.
Yeah. If we publish videos with them talking, I will get their approval before we post it.
All right, Walker just left. There he is right there. So we're heading back out to the floor, and I want to do a Splo sponsored video and get a couple more answers to the what is the connected enterprise question. Maybe someone from Rockwell can answer that question for me. And we'll see. Thank you guys for joining.